Hello YouTube, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. As always, we are joined by our lovely assistant, Zombie Steve. And so I just wanted to start this out by I did this off camera last time and it sort of amused me. I needed to set my digital miner up in a ocean biome to get some sapphires for making the empowered palace blocks that we were using to make terrestrial whatchamajiggets for litherite. And I just sort of ran out here and did this, but it sort of amused me to set up the digital miner on a pirate ship. And it worked. I got plenty of sapphires, at least for now. I'll have to come back and get more. But as we mentioned in the last episode, we are using a ton of tin to get started in our void mining journey. So I need to grab this bad boy since it's done and take it somewhere, like perhaps the nether, and set it back up to get a bunch more tin. But anyway, I just thought I would share that I put a digital miner on a pirate ship. I amused myself with that little maneuver. But anyway, I'm going to go set this bad boy up, and we're making progress. I've got the void ore miner, I got my magenta lens, I've got my laser cores. Now I'm starting to work on things like the structural panel and the structural panels and the whatchamajigger, the other things that you need. And it's just taking so much tin, even more tin than I had thought. So I think I have enough to make it, but I'm going to leave myself very tin poor. So I thought I might as well... tin! So I thought I might as well go set up the digital miner and get some more netherrack tin ore. Anyway, I'm going to pause here, and when I get back I will have hopefully finished making all of our void miner junk, and we will set it up. My pulverized tin production is outperforming my smelting of ingots and stuff, so we're firing up the old Tinker's Contract smeltery for the first time in a long time. Tin actually melts and solidifies very fast, so I've got both ingots and blocks pouring out of this wall of tin. So yeah, I got 47 blocks worth in here. That's going to help me catch up a bit. So anyway, we're getting closer. We've got the lens, we've got the assembler, the lens, the controller, the 2 laser cores, the 20 structural panels. We're just looking for we've got 18 out of 24 structure frames. So we're almost there. We just need to bust out the last of this tin, and then we will be in business. And we are back, and we think we have finished all of our things necessary for our Void Miner Tier 1. So we got the magenta laser lens to hopefully get some iridium so that we can quickly move to the Tier 2. We got all the pieces. It was a truly absurd amount of tin, so I had to add it all up, but I think it was 464 blocks of tin, which is 4,176 ingots of tin, which of course is quite a bit of ore. So that was a bit crazed. I'd also like to point out that there was a bunch of signalum used also, so that's another thing to keep in mind as you're approaching building this. But let's try and get this thing going. So I've sort of decided to just put it off over here and use an ender chest and a power cell to deal with it for now. So it is from what I read, it is a 7x7, so that's the size of this hole. I think I'm actually going to have it one up from this hole, but I just wanted to make sure I have plenty of room. 7x7x5, and I think this is at the top. So I'm going to throw that up there. That's 1, 2, 3. So I don't know, maybe that isn't high enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm just going to go ahead and make it one higher. I'd rather have it be a little on the high side. It does not want to mine. Huh, alright, well, I guess that's where it's going to be. You might need to use some sort of tool or something to break it. I do have the assembler here. Shift for info. And then it just says look somewhere else. But for what I understand, if we either right click or shift right click on this, it will start taking all of the pieces out of my inventory and applying it. The 2 laser cores down the middle, the laser lens, and then the structure panel and structure frames all around the outside. So let's just check it out. Here is click. Okay, that worked. Right click. So it is right click. I'm not shifting. Let's pause a moment and make sure it's putting everything where I think it should be. Yes, that looks about right. And we've still got plenty of pieces left. I think I'm going to pause here and fill in the floor. Doesn't look like it's going to go down below here, so I'm going to go ahead and put bricks down. So it ended up being where I wanted it to be. So that's good. Sorry, I know this part is boring, but I did want to just give it a little room since I wasn't exactly sure exactly how tall things would be and how things would work out until I started building it. Alright, so I'll go back to assembling. So right click, right click, right click, right click. And I think that's it. I think we are in business. And it's the elevation that I wanted, and so everything looks good. Both power and output of items goes at the top, so whoa. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. Make sure everything's out. So now it should have power. I'm going to put this here to collect stuff. Assembled, true. Uses 4,000. What does FE stand for again? Something like forge energy, essentially RF per tick. It has a buffer of 1 million according to the mouse over tool at the beginning of this thing. However, it is not going. So I am not sure. I mean, I don't see any laser. I don't hear anything. I don't see anything going on. Did I put a rock under it? Did I put a stone brick under it, maybe? Yep, I did. So we'll break that out. It now says I'll have to grab what I took out of it. Let's go at Enviro. Took a structure panel out. Is that the only block we took out? Yeah, it looks like. So now it says assembled false. Assembled true. Aha, and there we have a laser. Yeah, it is working. Now, I don't think this thing is super fast. So let's get off of the assembler in case I do something weird with it. So if I click on there, it just says it's true. Gives me a duration. Oh, there's stuff. Well, that seems like a decent clip. That's doing things at a reasonably decent clip. Getting lots of nether stuff at the moment. Bone, that's interesting. I wasn't expecting bone. I think that was a wither skull and wither stuff. Oh, you know what? I think this is actually from a combination of what's coming out of my digital miner and what's coming out of my my monster farm, all going through the nether chest together and into my bags. So I can't remember if I mentioned it. I think I did, but when we look at ender pearls, I got 15,000 over 15.6, and I've used a bunch, so I got tons of those. So I thought, you know, this is getting a little extreme. Maybe I should turn it over. So I put it on basalts, and I got over 3,000 basalts rods. And if we look at pulverized obsidian, I got like 1,600 pulverized obsidian from the basalts. And so I thought, okay, that's probably enough of that. And so now I am on a wither powered spawner from Ender.io in my mob farm, and I'm thinking it might be about time to turn that off. I've got 974 wither bones. Now at first I was a little concerned here because when I first looked at it, sorry, let's look at it here. When I first looked at this, it looked like it was mostly, if I hit U here, gosh darn it, if I get out of the text box and then hit U, it looks like it was mostly used for weapons, and these are not weapons that I'm probably going to use in a case where I've got Tinker's Construct and really nice stuff for that. But now I did notice that you can also turn things into necrotic bones, which may be useful for something. Let's see. Bottom line is wither dust. I don't know what wither dust is used for, but dwindle cream, unstable ender pearls, dark sugar. I can make soul sand. That might be a good thing. Wither dust, block. Lon's Delight crystals. That might be important. Bottom line is I'm not getting a huge amount of wither dust from this, but I can use the wither bones to make more wither dust. So that was where I was going with all of that. So all of these can also be turned into like hundreds of wither dust. Wither ash is what I'm getting a ton of. Keep forgetting that you won't work like that. You gotta take it out or look at it somewhere else. But I'm also getting lots of drops of evil. I've got 800 drops of evil. So lots of stuff. I think the bones are possibly also coming from them too. I'm at 5,400 bones. Just plain old bones, which I think are also coming from the wither skeletons. Bottom line though is I think maybe I've got plenty. But the other thing it's doing is that since I've got both my digital miner out in the world and also that monster trap, so now you can see I'm getting a lot of nether stuff because my digital miner is in the nether, and I'm getting lots of nether quartz and I'm getting lots of bones and things like that, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm getting from the void miner. So this is all an extremely long-winded way for me to say that I think I'm going to, for now, remove this nether chest and go grab maybe one of those crates. Yeah, one of these. Go grab one of these crates just so I can see and be sure what's coming out of this. Oops. Now I'm not really seeing any kind of GUI for the void miner, and again, this is I think I may have briefly used one of these when I was playing around 4 or 5 years ago. It doesn't seem like it's changed much. All of this feels familiar, but I don't remember exactly what I was doing. But here, now that I'm not confusing it with my other two ender chests incoming items, I can see that I'm getting stuff. So we have got the magenta lens. We're trying to get a rhodium crystal so that we can use that rhodium crystal to upgrade this ASAP to a tier 2. Because the tier 2 is going to be a pretty big jump. I was looking at the rates. It's hard to tell because I know that this mod pack messes with the generation rates of a lot of things, mostly the power generation, but I don't know if the output of the void miner is the same here as it would be on a say normal environmental tech or whatever the name of this mod is situation. I don't know if the Enigmatica 2 expert fiddles with the rates or anything of power consumption, probably if they were going to fiddle with something. But bottom line is, I think we're in business. So, let's say it's using 4,000 per tick. I'm going to run upstairs and see if I'm making a dent in my power here. So I'm currently running the digital miner and the powered wither spawner and the void miner and my ME system. Those are sort of the four main things that are drawing power at the second. And I've got 4,900 roughly per tick output, 4,000 of that. I wonder if my digital miner just stopped. That seems low. Anyway, bottom line is, I'm not even going through extra watermelons. I was so happy with this bad boy because I thought, all right, I'm making a ton of melons here, and that ton of melons is going to make a ton of biofuel, which is going to make a ton of ethylene, so I should be able to run this big old honking advanced generator that burns ethylene like nobody's business, and it's going to be wonderful. And I literally have barely used, I've used maybe 4 or 5 watermelons the entire time. This can hold a max of 4096, but I did take some out and put more back in when I needed to make a bunch of seeds for seed oil for impregnated sticks for some other project. But I think on the whole I've used maybe 4 or 5 watermelon slices this whole time, and I've got 4,000, and all I have to do is turn this bad boy on and it pumps out like, I don't know, 9 every couple ticks. 9 slices every couple ticks. So this is going to go down in history as probably my biggest overkill moment, is this watermelon creation extravaganza here. But I sort of dig it. Alright, so power is good. We're mining again. One thing I'm continuing to do is I know we're going to want to make the resource miner at some point, because I think that's how you get mica, and I think mica is used in important stuff. Let's take a look at that real quick. You. Gosh darn it, I keep doing that. Out of the text box, and you. So it's used in whatever this is, which I'm not going to worry about right now, but it's also used in the accuracy modifiers and various modifiers that you put into these void miners, I believe, and at some point those become necessary for the ore miner as well. So you have to, in other words, each ore miner, like if I get up to a tier 5, let's just take a look at it. So if I look at the, say a tier 5, one of these, so it requires 16 null speed or accuracy modifiers in any combination. So that's what I was getting at with, I think we're going to have to get into mica, even if we don't want to run a resource miner. We're still going to have to at least get one started and moving to make the mica to update our ore miner. So because of that, if we look at, let's see, I've got 1100 tin ingots. Let's see, I've got only 100 tin blocks. Got 1200 pulverized tin, so what I'm doing is I'm continuing to occasionally put this in so that it will be ready and that I will have a lot of tin when I need it. Let's just take a look at the tin ore that I've got. So I'm replenishing some of my nether ore with the digital miner, which is currently parked in the nether, pretty high in elevation, to make sure that I get tin up near 65 plus. So I think I'm going to be fine for the resource miner when we decide to make that. Basically what I'm hoping is that we get some litherite out of this. And we've gotten 2 already. So I'm going to need another, like 70 some litherite to make the resource miner. So we'll keep an eye on our litherite crystal production. And if it doesn't seem to be happening at a reasonable rate, I can always then make some more empowered crystals and some more terrestrial thingamabobs and make more litherite manually through that. We're also going to keep our eye on our rhodium, and as soon as our rhodium is up at a decent level, we're going to go ahead and try to upgrade this to a tier 2. So at environmental, so void ore. So we're looking at needing 6 blocks, and then we're already going to need 4 null speed or accuracy modifiers just to get to the next tier here. So we're probably going to have to keep going until we get enough litherite, or make litherite the fluid transposer way to get us some mica, because I think the null speed and accuracy ones all require mica. Let's just double check. Yes, mica. And there is no way to get that other than the void resource miner. So that answers my question. I might go ahead and push forward with just making another load of litherite manually in parallel to this mining, just to get the resource miner going and to get the so that we can be ready as soon as we have enough rhodium to upgrade. But yeah, looks like I'm getting a nice mix of stuff here. It's pretty darn slow, but that's okay. That's to be expected, and that's why I'm concentrating on a rhodium first with the magenta lens, so that I can, as quick as possible, upgrade this to tier 2, because tier 2 seems like a pretty decent jump from what I was reading over tier 1. Alright, I'm babbling. I'm just spilling out what's going through my head. What are we going to do now while we're waiting for that? I could take another run at making litherite manually. I sort of need a break from that though. Ender.io. I've sort of gotten the high, what I really wanted out of Ender.io, which was 15,000 Ender pearls. So I'm not seriously needing to go. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I want to do. So I have now made a compactor. I got a sawmill as a reward. In fact, I got 2 sawmills as a reward. I've made an induction smelter. I don't think I have an energetic infuser, but I do have a fluid transposer and I do have a crucible. And I believe I do have rich slag maybe, or could get it real quick. So the bottom line is that if I make a fractionating still and an energetic infuser, I will cross off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I will get 9 advancements from making a fractionating still and an energetic infuser. So I'm going to do that. That's been on my list of things to do. And once I've got that done, then I might take a break and do something completely different, because this void miner did take a lot of crafting and I'm getting stir crazy. So maybe I'll go to the Twilight Forest. So, which I've never been to a Twilight Forest ever in any mod pack and don't know a damn thing about it, other than I think there's like a series of bosses that you fight. And the other thing that I noticed when I was looking around at stuff was I noticed that I think draconic ore spawns down near bedrock. And while I don't need it yet, I'm going to, so I might as well go figure that out. So I'm going to pause the recording here. I'm going to try and bust out like 9 advancements in the thermal expansions quest tree. And then I will be back once I've built a portal to the Twilight Forest, and we'll go do some adventuring. See you in a second. Alright, I'm back for a brief update. So I have one more machine to make towards opening up a ton of loot crates in thermal expansion. But one of the things as I started to make these machines that was bugging me was that my auto crafting of things like extruded wire and gears and plates is slow. I've got some E2E metal formers upstairs, and they're just slow. Slow as hell compared to these, and just slow in general compared to anything. I'm starting to regret just not making 3 more of these and put them all parallel side by side with a space in between them. I wasn't sure how to automate them, so that's why I sort of went the IC2 way. But then as I was looking for something else, I saw videos where somebody had just put like an ME interface here and an ME interface here to catch, and it seemed to be working just fine. And if you give these guys sufficient power, they're pretty darn fast. So I'm starting to regret not going that way. So that's a note for future self. However, since I have gone the metal former way, and since you can put a ton of overclockers into those things, then they might actually be fast as hell if I can get enough overclockers in them. Even if that totally ruins my energy efficiency, it makes plenty of power for this stage in the game. So what I'm doing here is, if we look at the overclockers, this is what you do. You make them in the carpenter, tin plates. All of this stuff is pretty basic. We've been making all of this stuff ever since we got the mechanism, or even before if we made that version. So that's all fine and good. But the IC2 coolant was a mystery to me, so I had to look that up. And basically in this mod pack, the way you get that is from a fluid solid canning machine. So you flip it here. This button will change it to things like canning meat, or various fluids, by putting empty cans to full cans. but you can also do it to fluid and wrench. So you got to feed it water in from the left. So I've got the aqueous accumulator hooked up with its output on the right. So it's outputting on the right to here, and the water is slowly coming in. And then we are burning through lapis lazuli dust to make the IC2 coolant. And then this is just a temporary thing. There goes a splash of it now. But we're using the thermodynamic servo as an extracting method set to always on. And then the fluid ducts to send it over to our carpenter. And then as it gets little bursts of stuff, it makes it. I got several more recipes to go here. I'm making a whole bunch of these. I want to put like at least several in each machine and see how fast that is, and then maybe do even more. So I'm taking the time out to do that. I also took a time out to, I was doing lots of little crafting things, so I took a time out to make some more molecular assemblers and add them to my slowly starting to grow ME assembly. So I made a couple more of these bad boys just to share them out. I've only got one, only my CPU 0 has a coprocessing unit, which allows it to split things over multiple molecular assemblers. But some of these, I originally just had a molecular assembler in the center and then one here. But that for the one in the center, it's like this guy could only talk to the one in the center. So if CPU 0 was using that one, then this one wouldn't be using it or couldn't use something. So I wanted to sprinkle just a couple more on here to make sure that, so now this one talks to 3, this one talks to 2, this one talks to 3, this guy talks to 2. I might make it a couple more and put them here and here, again, just so that there's at least a couple of molecular assemblers hooked up with each ME interface. So that's going to expand a little. But anyway, yeah, so that's what I'm doing, is making the overclockers. And if we take a look here, we're slowly but surely almost done with that. Then I got one more machine to make because I sort of got sidetracked, and then I'll be back in a minute, and we will open up and look at our thermal expansion tree. And it should have like 9-ish or so loot boxes to open for the end of the episode. Be right back. Okay, and so I had gotten a few overclocker upgrades from loot chest rewards from the quest book, but I had spread them out over multiple machines. Only had 2 of them going, and for the instance, this is a metal former making iron plates. So you can see that is slow. That was no good. So I've gone up to 8, which looking at how these things speed up, I think I could put up to 20 some, but the energy costs get a little ridiculous. So just trying 8, you can see it's much faster. So now I'm really pumping them through there. That's probably as fast or faster than the metal press. So I'm pretty happy with that. So now I've got 8 in the compressor, 8 in the metal former, 8 in the other metal former, 8 in that metal former. This one is extruding wires and stuff, and then these 2 are making plates. And what else? Oh, plates and casings. So you can see I have a bunch of plates and casings in those. And then this one is making, this is a macerator. So there's a few recipes where the macerator works well. So I'm just using that for one right at the moment. So all of those got 8 in them right now. I think that's going to be fine. I don't know. I seem to have so much power, I'm not going to worry about it too much until I see I have a power problem. Anyway, so now that I'm done with that, I've cleaned all that up. I've got 25 left over, which I can use for future IC2 machines, or put even more speed into those if I decide that I want it to go even faster, and to hell with the energy cost. Alright, but now really I'm going to finish up that last thermal expansion machine and we'll open up a bunch of loot crates. Be right back. And here's one of the reasons I was postponing things until I played around with other things, because I had to make more machine frames, which are the core building block of thermal expansion machines, which require making device frames and machine frames and heavy engineering blocks and iron casings and machine cases. So it's just a real pain in the butt. I was one short of all the machines I wanted, and so yeah, I had to make this stuff. And this is not a fun recipe because of course I was out of all of those things. But there, now I have 8 of these bad boys, which I think I'm getting far enough along in thermal expansion that hopefully that will last me. I won't have to make any more of the damn things. So with that, I think this is the last machine I needed to make. Oh, what now? Alright, I need 2 of these bad boys. Silver ingots. I think I used up my silver ingots. No, I have some. Yay. And compressed redstone. I'm almost out of that. Actually, I think I left some cooking over here. Yes, I did. So, silver ingots. Forget how much these take. I think these take a lot. Alright, so they take 2. There we go. And now, finally, after much fiddling about, ding ding ding. So, thermal expansion. Look at that. Look at all that aqua blinking in wide wonder. So I already had like 4 or 5 of these open, and I made 3 new machines to cover some of the other ones, the gaps, to allow me to progress. So now, let's go ahead and claim all of these. It's been a while since I got anything. I think we've reached a point in our progression where I'm not really expecting anything earth-shattering or super useful here. I think some of the rare and epic things are still going to be nice. The last thing I got that I think I used was, and I didn't even really need it, but it was, you know, sort of handy, was we had 9 of these fire mills set up for GP production, and we didn't need extra GP, but just in case, it's nice to have. I got 10 more as a reward, so I expanded myself from this 3x3 block to now a 6x3 block, so I now have plenty of grid power GP. So yeah, that's the last thing I got that I thought was cool and really used. That is a 4 nutrient food that I have not eaten yet, so actually that's sort of handy. That's another food I haven't eaten yet, so I'll take that. An observer, I don't really know what that does. I don't think I'm going to need it for anything, but who knows. A fission controller rare, I think that's the 3rd reward of that I've gotten. So I have a number of fission ones. This is something I've already eaten, but it is a 5 nutrient food, so it's a full food source. So I'm pretty happy to have that, actually. When I was leveling up my new pickaxe, I did burn through a lot of my spare food. There's another food that I haven't eaten. That is also good. A dev null. So I'm not really into the dev null. I kept hearing people talk about things like that, but I think the thing they were excited about was a dank null. And as near as I can tell, I got all excited because I was looking at somebody maybe hypnotized, maybe his playthrough, and he was running around with a dank null, and it was super cool. And I thought, damn, I need me one of those. But as far as I can tell, the dank null is not in here, so he must have added it in on top of the standard Enigmatica 2 Expert. Either that or it was in and they took it out in some version. I guess I did not check open blocks to see if maybe it's, since it's got slashes in the name, maybe it doesn't come up easily. But I am not seeing anything there. So they may have either taken it out or he added it in. And I could see why he would add it in. It was a lot of fun. It definitely looked like something that I would use if it were in the mod pack that I was playing. But anyway, that's an aside. So there you go. We made a huge dent in opening up and getting rewards for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 of these, 5 of which I had already made. So I made 3 machines and got the 8 loot chests and crossed them off the list here. So that's all good. And not really feeling the need to make any of these, so probably what I'll do is just ignore them until late in the game when I'm just trying to finish things out for bragging rights. If I go that far, I have a feeling I'll end up making, if I make it this far and do this kind of stuff, whatever the hell all this is, I have no idea about draconic evolution. But if I make all of this stuff, will I actually go back and make a biogenerator from forestry just to cross it off the list? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on my mood. But anyway, I'm babbling at this point. Good progress today. We got the void. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to do is check on. So while I've been dithering about with making overclocker upgrades for AC2 and getting all of that stuff, I've been letting this bad boy run. So we are up to 39 erodium, so we are well on our way towards making a tier 2 one of these already. So I better start assembling the necessary ingredients for that. And at 25, we're maybe a third of the way towards making a resource miner tier 1. So I better go check on my tin production. So that's going to be, I'm going to need about, I think it's 464 blocks of tin. So I've only got half the blocks of tin I need. And if I go 10 ingots, I got 450, so let's just grab those. It's another 50. So I'm just going to keep pushing that through my system. Oh, and the other thing I did was tin melts and solidifies so fast through the smelter that in parallel, I got some dribbles there. In parallel, I've just been making them over here. I had like a bunch more dust because I can make dust faster than I can do the rest of this. So I actually have a bunch more here. Oh God, that's a dev null. This is one of the reasons I hate dev nulls, is because they look like open spots. And I was trying to use one before when I got one as a reward. And basically I would put cobblestone in there, which is all fine and good. But then I would think it was just a random cobblestone and I would throw it in my trash can. And it wasn't really super useful to me. So that's just going to go in my ME system in case I decide I need it for anything. So let's clean up all of this. Keep some of that food I haven't eaten yet out and throw it in my backpack so I can remember to eat it when I need it. All right. I don't think I have a use for any of these right at the moment, but I'll hold on to them and double check before I throw them somewhere. All right, so now let's look at 342. So we'll have all the tin we need by the time, what am I at there? I need a couple, I need to fill that up and finish it off. So we'll have all the tin we need and won't be so shocked and horrified when we go to make the resource miner. So I'm just going to make a couple more to finish off this block and let the auto crafting handle the rest of it. And that is about it for this episode. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And if nobody is watching, well, future me, when I watch this back in a couple years, I'm sure I will enjoy my insights because I will have forgotten everything I did by then. Talk to you later.